Hi guys, we have another DNA solved cold case coming up. This case is at least 25 years old. A 9-year-old girl from Missouri had been abducted, raped, and murdered. And 25 years later, they got a hit. This guy was a former Air Force serviceman, Earl Cox. He is now age 61. He was already locked up for sex crimes against children. So it looks like this guy was a molester, a rapist. I mean, he probably always has been. All his life, probably since a teenager. There's probably been something wrong with this guy, because he doesn't seem to stop. This little 9-year-old girl was walking home from her school in 1993, and she was kidnapped, and then she disappeared. 9 days later, a hunter found her nude, tied to a tree, her body partially covered in snow and with wounds of torture and attempts to escape her bindings. She was fighting for her life to get free. She was a 4th grader. She had been gagged with her own underwear. And with her own underwear. But later, this piece of evidence was solved, this case, by DNA evidence. They say this little girl did not die from her her wounds, her rape, and torture. They said she died from hypothermia. She was left out in the freezing cold weather, and even though she had been handcuffed, starved, and sexually assaulted, they say, the newspaper says, that she had been alive up to almost a few hours before the hunter found her body. She hadn't been dead that long, but been missing for days. She had been missing for 9 days, but she hadn't been dead for very long. When they found her body, she had just simply froze to death. Because she had no clothes on, and she couldn't eat or drink, so this little girl must have put on one hell of a fight for survival. But it just came hours too late for this little girl. But they never gave up hope that one day her profile will solve this case, and which it has. This guy Cox was, like I said, already locked up in North Carolina since being convicted in 2003 for being part of an international online kiddie porn ring. And he had been subject to numerous other allegations and charges of child porn involving children he was babysitting. Though he had finished serving his sentences by 2011, federal authorities had held onto him, because they knew he would strike again. Oh yeah, like I said, he's been doing this all his life. He's a pervert. He's deeming the pedophile as a sexual, dangerous person. And that's according to the court papers. I mean, this case, this guy may never be over, because he's a suspect in a lot more other cases that he is probably connected to. And they believe that he is not the only suspect involved in this case. So, he's got a bunch of friends that are all crazy like he is, and do the same thing. So, they pass them along, kind of thing. They're all sick. I mean, pedophiles. So, they say, like, where Cox kept Angie during her 9 days in captivity, and whether he had help concealing her. They do believe that he didn't do this by himself. He also was accused of molesting 2 7-year-olds back in 1989. But those charges were dropped. But for lack of evidence, probably something like that. Now, so there's a lot of other cases that he is involved in, and let's hope that these people are going to get justice, because we have now got justice for this little 9-year-old girl. This man is going to be sentenced and is never going to get out. But there's quite a few unsolved cases that they believe that he is connected to, and we want justice for those other cases too that couldn't be proven at the time, or they just didn't have the evidence, the DNA. And some people have died since so these cases may not be brought to justice. The investigators are happy with this result, and they said the fact that it took this long for us to be able to use the current technology and do the DNA testing, which gave us a result that was a blessing in disguise. And this is what the Loma said. His name is Loma. According to the NBC News, they said, had we tested this evidence any sooner than we did, there's a very good chance that nothing would have come about the technology, and it just wasn't advanced enough back then. So by the detectives holding on to evidence, hoping that in years technology would advance enough for them to test their samples. And it's happening, guys. DNA technology is going to put you guys behind bars for the rest of your life, because you can run, but you cannot outrun DNA. And thank you guys for stopping by. I'll see you in the comments.